It certainly is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name's Elaine, and he said Elaine there. I've never said Elaine.
Elaine!
It's because the
Kevin.
carer's been calling us Elaine all day. I'm like, but she's another new one, and even though I've said to her three times that I go by Lainey, she keeps saying Elaine.
Oh dear.
But anyway, it's a different story. Um, so I'm joined by the lovely Heather over here, who is linked in the description box below. So make sure you go and subscribe. And this is basically Let's Talk About, and we've done this for, can't remember what week I put on this. 13? I think it's week
We've been
13.
going a while. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's week 13, and we've done various subjects. And at the minute, we're doing mental health because there is a lot to cover in mental health, in that it affects everyday life, doesn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah. And it's very topical. People are getting more open about discussing it. And there are certain public events where people's mental health is being questioned, and it's all gone a bit horribly wrong, as anyone following the infamous Mr. Depp and Amber, who is very, very much being heard.
Yeah.
Yes, that's quite something. So, yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment.
I have to admit myself today, I feel better tonight than I did earlier, but I haven't felt 100%. And I don't know if it's just because obviously I've got an upcoming operation on Thursday, but
Yeah.
and I don't know, just didn't. I had no motivation today whatsoever, and felt I've got like I think it's a cyst on the back of my head here, and I'm like can't start to think, oh, they're gonna, you know, I've gone through 2 weeks of this, and then they're gonna say, oh, we can't do it because of that, because it's actually normally you don't really. Well, I do feel it a bit. It's quite sore actually, but I remember having one before, and they said like your hairbrush can sometimes catch something, and
Yeah,
then
it's like a hair follicle has got, yeah, like a spot, but basically in your hair,
yeah, yeah.
but that can't release. Mm.
But I thought, right, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you're so near, you've waited so long, and you're
Yeah.
so close, and I think all the
Mm.
sort of build up and the, I wouldn't say excitement, but that whole thing of, oh, everything could be so much better, and then it's like, yeah, but it's 2 days away, and that's a bit scary. And then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
I also came out with a rash on my neck last night, like on my chest. I know it's faded a lot now, but I don't know if it was just stress related, like thinking about it and whatever. But I
yeah.
mean, I took antihistamine and I put some cream on, and as I said, it's faded a lot. And I think it's just, I don't know,
Mm.
because I don't feel like I'm overthinking. I don't think I'm thinking about it that much, essentially. But then maybe subconsciously, I am.
I
So
think subconsciously there's probably a bit more worry and anxiety
probably
going on
is.
than you'd probably admit to consciously. And that
Yeah.
happens an awful lot. Your body tells you things. Actually, your body tells you things a lot sooner than you consciously recognize them. And I've kind of learned over the years that if something goes wrong with my body, to kind of go, hang on a minute, what's that about? Because I know damn well it's going to have something to do with my psychology
Yeah.
on
Definitely.
some level. And it's just trying to find out what it's trying to tell you and what's going on.
Mm.
Yours sounds like it's saying, actually, there is a part of me that is feeling stressed about this. And that's okay, because it's perfectly normal 2 days before an op to feel
Yeah.
like that. Absolutely, without doubt.
Yeah. True. True. And I have to say, I'm sick of yogurt and jelly and whatever.
Yeah, that sucked all the pleasure out of life, really, hasn't it, for you? Your
Yeah,
diet,
and
really.
also now I'm stuck in as well because I had to have me COVID test on Monday,
Yeah.
and so I think that's what I mean. Come
Not
on.
being able to go out and see all the little birdies and do
Yeah,
what
because I
you
would
do so well.
yeah, because I would have just disappeared outside and wouldn't have been an issue then. See, so
Mm. Do you know how soon after, what kind of time frame you're
no,
looking at for
I
getting
haven't
up?
given us anything really. I mean, obviously I know that I can't lift, but I can't do that anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Apart from myself, which I think should be okay because I pull myself over. It's not like what I mean type of thing. It's not. So I'm thinking that should be okay. Um, but yeah, they haven't really given us anything. I mean, I'm assuming a couple of days.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I don't know, but I'm assuming a couple of days. But I'll ask anyway.
Yeah, it's just useful for you to know, because then you can say to yourself, oh, well, okay, we'll buy XX. I can
Yeah, it's
go
only
back in my
till
luggage and go
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Something to us kind of look forward to, because
yeah,
otherwise it's a bit,
yeah.
it's a piece of string. Oh, we've got lots of people in. Ooh.
I've got a few. Let's say a few hellos. Hi Ian. Hi Steve. Hi Chris. I'm here about being bullied by Chris Tyler and Elaine Ray. I don't think so.
Elaine Ray.
Yeah, he's using my son DNA or whatever. Hi Kath. Hi Joan. Yeah, I've also I spoke to Joan yesterday, and now I have to apologise to her because I was talking about the trial, and so she was sitting watching it this afternoon. I watched it because of you. I was like, sorry.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of it. I really haven't been about. I haven't had a lot of time, so I'm kind of catching sort of chats
Yeah.
and kind of getting the drift of it. And I watch little excerpts because it's, like you say, you could just literally sit and watch the whole thing. Which, I mean, obviously, if I could, I probably would at this point. It's addictive.
It is, and it's a huge point on mental health because, clearly, she is really mentally ill in
She
my
has some
point of view.
complex issues going on. And there are many people commentating as well, and to be so in the public eye and all that vulnerability out there. Now, me, like a lot of people, of course, I'm more like to be on Johnny Depp's side, as it were, because I've always had a fondness for the fellow and thought he's probably not. I mean, it takes two, obviously, but I really think she does need help. I mean, really, if one thing comes out of this, that she gets the help she needs, and clearly needs a lot of support, she should get that. What everyone thinks about her, it's a manifestation of the illness. It's not necessarily who she is. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
but
some sympathy for her.
I think it's only been a day that I've really thought about it, in the sense of, like, how can you sit there, all this evidence that shows what happened, and none of it's in your favor? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, not a single thing.
Not not even like, oh, the only people that you could ask had passed away, so our mum or one of the bodyguards that she claims could have proved things.
Yeah, it is. It's not good, is it?
Yeah, how can you sit there, and then it's got to be something to do with your mental health in that case. Like, and I know that they said she had borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
But well, that was Johnny's side that said that. Her side said she didn't have it. That she had PTSD from what Johnny did, apparently, and that was her side. But then also the narcissism, the sociopathic things that are just coming up, that she does truly believe everything she's saying.
That's what really stands out. It's not that she's got some elaborate constructed, she really is living in the world where she is right, and that's a clue as to exactly just how wrong things are in her mental state. That with all the evidence to counter it, she can't see that and believes she's being persecuted on every level by everybody. It must be a horrible place to be, but for it to be played out in such a public arena, it's just, I mean, it is compelling viewing. I think we've all admitted that we're quite addicted.
Oh yeah, definitely
to watching it, but it is like watching a car crash. It's just horrendous. But wow, help needed. And I mean, I'm sure they're well off enough to get the help, but she's got to admit that she needs it. Yeah, it is surreal. And hello, surreal from Japan. Yeah.
It's got another couple of weeks left, Ian.
Judge Rinder. Now, I do like Judge Rinder. I think he's hilarious.
In Judge Judy, a kind of similar thing.
Yes, I think Judge Judy was first, and Judge Rinder is our kind of English variant on it, but he's very to the point, and I like that. He just cuts straight through.
Yeah,
Cuts
straight through the bollocks, shall we say?
Yes, through the BS. That's right, straight to the point. But it's theatre, obviously, which it shouldn't really be. Judge Judy would sort them out. Yes, I'm sure she would. Quite phenomenal personage.
I was trying to think what we ended last week with, which was about, I think it was like frustration around not getting the support and things like that, because or it not being out there, or you go to the doctor and then they just either give you tablets and send you away, or
there's a lot of fobbing off.
Yeah,
there's a hell of a lot of fobbing off. I mean, I found out today that if somebody wants a referral for testing for something like autism or Asperger's or something like that, you can't go through a doctor now. Doctors won't do it. Not for young people anyway. I don't know whether they do it for older people or not, but that's something I discovered today that I didn't realise. So it's like, why isn't this information available for people? Young people's mental health is very much at the forefront of the news and conversation these days. Surely something that obvious should have been made clear.
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? But it just doesn't seem to be a thing, does it? It's kind of weird.
It's a mess. It's a hot mess.
It is. It truly is a hot mess.
And it is frustrating because you haven't got a clear pathway of where to go to get something, to get the ball rolling. In terms of young people, apparently now you have to go through the school, where there's certain issues around doing it that way, because then you're why has it got to be made public through the school? But it absolutely has to now. So that puts a whole different shine on things, and there might be plenty of young people who are more reluctant to do that.
Yeah.
So CAMHS, yes. GPs won't refer to CAMHS. I was told this today. They will not refer to CAMHS anymore. They expect you to go through the school, who then refer you to CAMHS.
My one of my friends, her daughter's just been referred through the school to CAMHS.
So it's like the ever-shifting sands, isn't it? How are people supposed to make sense of it all? And especially the young person concerned, who's probably quite baffled by the whole thing anyway, and really needs support and information. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's just whether this gets better, whether more money is put into all areas of mental health, so that people can get the help that they need at an earlier point, before things go too serious, or they hurt themselves in some instances, or whatever it is that happens. It just, to make it easier. You know what I mean? Like, there should be something online that you can do that is just, it could even start off as anonymous, because I think a lot of people are scared to sort of, you know what I mean, go there.
Yeah, to start the ball rolling and to at least investigate and find out more. I think, and not all young people are as proactive or as fearless to go and do these things for themselves.
Yeah, and especially sort of, I don't know, from 10 to sort of up into 30, everyone's got access online, really, kind of thing. So if there was something they could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you might be right. It's jumped now, isn't it? But you may very be right, Kath. It may be a local thing. I'm in the southeast of the country, so there may be different things that happen elsewhere. But it's going to be different wherever you go then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I suppose it is different. We have self-referral for mental health issues, and they have to give you 48 hours. They have to respond in 48 hours, I should say.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what it's for. It could be just something that you're coping with day to day, but you need help with, if you know what I mean. But you still go, but then there's the crisis team as well. So if you need help instantly, Although I have heard a lot of negative response around the crisis team.
Again, this is one of the problems, isn't it? People are going to have different experiences, and depending on where, how bad their situation is as well. Yeah.
But also, this sounds awful to say, and it's probably not the best way to do it. Is that when you're in your situation, everything rolls around that. So it's sort of mental. I don't want to say mental health is selfish. That's not really the best way of putting it. But like everything about I don't know if I'm trying to explain, but everything evolves around you and your mental health. You're inside this circle of entrapment, I guess, of your own. So it's kind of hard.
You can't just stand back and look at something from a logical point of view, because you're not in that headspace.
No, you're involved in it, and it's very much. So when it's involved for you, you might believe you're in the middle of a crisis and everything's going to fall apart, whatever.
Yeah.
But then someone else from the outside can see that, well, maybe you're not going to hurt yourself. It may be frightening for you and everything, but you're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to, you know what I mean? So it's like, I guess it's having that balance, because for the person involved, it's all about that. It's all consuming.
When you're in it, it'll be.
Yeah,
it will feel like there's no way out. But that's the thing, is to be able to pick up a phone or talk to someone online and have somebody kind of like talk you down a bit and say, okay, what started this, and unpick. But like I say, it's so under-resourced.
Beyond that, fear circle that keeps you there, type of thing.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, very overstretched.
Yeah. I feel if you don't have a good family or friend support, you don't get heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Hi, Susan. One eye on us and one eye on the tribe.
Don't blame you. I hope it's entertaining.
Seems to be this attitude of do your own research online and read this fact sheet, but don't bother the NHS. Yeah.
But, absolutely, yeah. But stuff that's online isn't always good information.
Yeah. Well, I injured my coccyx, I think it was because I wasn't going in the wheelchair for like 6 or 7 weeks. And then I started going back in the wheelchair again. And it's been really sore. I have to admit, it's starting to improve now, fingers crossed. And typically, as I'm now stopping going in the wheelchair because I'm going into hospital, but, and I Googled on NHS, for help and that. And it was like, first thing was try not to sit. I've got
it's a bit difficult, really.
Yeah. Oh well, that's me out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I can hold on my side a bit, but I can't stay there long term. You know what I mean? And then obviously I've got a. So yeah, wasn't the best option for us.
Wasn't most helpful.
Yeah. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Yeah, Joan, it's frightening how overstretched the NHS is. Very true. Cass says it took 10 years for my partner to get the right referral. Another friend's husband tried suicide repeatedly, and the crisis team didn't show up. We haven't even got one here.
Depends where you are in the country and the resources again, I think.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's madness.
Yeah. There is Andy's Men's Club. Andy's Men's Club, I think it's called. I think it's nationwide. And it's basically just men who have issues, and they all get together and they meet up weekly and they talk about whatever is going on with them, and I think it's a really good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, because I do think it is more difficult sometimes for some men to be able to talk and to open up and express themselves, and it takes time. You know?
Yeah, and I think especially it was like sort of 40 plus generation, I think, because you it was you were brought up by people who were like, men didn't show emotions, men just got on with it, men just did this, men, we have to be the strong one, we have to show. And then when that doesn't happen or things go wrong, it can be quite frightening, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, with that kind of idea of what being a man is, which is absurd, really, especially in this day and age. But it's a kind of a hangover, and it takes a long time for it is changing, thankfully, but as you say, older people find it more of a struggle, I think.
Yeah, because of the way that we just get on with it. It's kind of that attitude, isn't it? You don't cry, you don't show your emotions, you just get on with it, and you man up, which is a horrible term, isn't it? It's just
absolutely, apart from being insulting to the other half of humanity. It's like, excuse me.
Kind of fighting filter. Hi, Santa Claus.
Oh, new peoples. Hello.
So, Ian says Andy's Man's Club also do practical activities such as gardening, woodwork, bike repairs, as well as valuable support, which I think is a really good thing, because I think if you can focus onto something else, it really helps you a lot. And as I've said, with going out with a camera, it's a massive thing for me, because it takes us away from everything. And I assume doing some gardening or woodwork, but I mean, obviously it's finding the right thing for you, but when you find a love for something, and I know that Ian loves woodwork, and I'm sure he disappears when he's doing it, it's his full concentration, and his mind is consumed by just finishing this piece of whatever thing that he's making, cabinet, whatever. And I think that is a massive thing, to find things that you love like that, that you can just disappear in, and it lets you escape.
Exactly. Yes. Man shed. Yeah. No, it's, I mean, all of these things. And also, if you've got a group of fellas together doing something, they've all got a common interest, then there's more chance they'll start talking, kind of more broadly and about other things, and share more. You get real friendships there, rather than the classic one of being down the pub and people aren't actually honest until they've got about 10 pints in them. It's just not the way to be. And then they say, oh no, it was the drink. It's like, no, actually, that's who you really are and what you really need.
Definitely. Kathy says, my fella got support from a group that recycled furniture to sell on. They gave loads of support too. It was a charity, but had to close because the bills got too big. Oh, that's such a shame that happened.
Yeah.
And she says he goes to a man shed now. Yeah, I think there's a few of those man sheds as well.
That sounds brilliant. I never heard of the man shed thing, but that sounds like, especially if it is everywhere, so that people can access something near. That's absolutely bloody brilliant. Yeah.
Definitely. Lauren says that she loves cleaning. I've got a few friends who do that. In fact, I think my daughter does it a bit. When she's a bit stressed, she cleans, disappears in cleaning and stuff. So yeah, that's a really good productive thing, though, isn't it? Though, if you
I wish I did that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Me too. But Chris says it's been the right people. It's been with the right people as well. One that you don't get on with, you won't want to go.
Yeah, that can be difficult.
I think the thing is, though, you're always going to have that one idiot somewhere, because it's just part of life.
Yeah.
And it's about just avoiding them and just doing the bits what you enjoy. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Not letting someone else spoil your vibe,
spoil your enjoyment. Like, to me, it's just a case of, they are a step away from them, like, in terms of mentally, so it doesn't affect us anymore, and that's the best way, like, for me.
Yeah.
Casco on radio silent now because our tea's arrived. I hope you're having a banana and an apple like I had.
And now you get people talking about food. That's gonna really tease you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I had to wolf down spaghetti and meatballs before I came. Smart to catch up. Smart sauce.
Well, I had jelly yogurt and a banana in tomato soup before that. Obviously, not together in the same bowl because that
Not
would
in
be
the same
quite
bowl.
weird. Yeah. Ian says our man's shed was replaced by another charity in Huddersfield by Platform One, but essentially the same, with a good mix of people from all walks of life, which is great. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, just having that, just knowing you're not alone as well, I think, because I think mental health is usually very self-isolating in terms of how you feel, never mind, you know, even if you feel like you can't open up about it because you feel like no one's going to understand, or because of the whole, no, your camera's disappeared on us.
I know. I'll sort myself out. Don't worry.
Or you feel like because this is happening to you, and if you open up about it, then people will think differently about you in terms of like they'll think, yeah. I think because and I do think this is still a stigma in terms of they'll think you're a loon. Like I can't think of a better way of putting it than that, but like, oh, you know, avoid her, she's a bit nuts, or avoid her, she's a bit of a loon, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Um, and I think you do that to yourself. You have this like, oh my god, I can't tell anyone because they'll think this and they'll think that, and then it becomes an even bigger thing than it probably ever was anyway. But because you panic about it, when actually, if you did speak, hundreds of people will totally understand because hundreds of people, if not thousands and millions, have had similar, if not the same, issues.
Yeah, I think that's where sort of forums and groups and things that are online are such a good thing. Oh, I mean, there can be positives and negatives, but that whole thing of you're not the only one.
Yeah.
You know, however unusual you might think you are, it's like, yeah, but there's always someone else who's probably thinking the same things or wants to discuss stuff. Yeah.
Hi, Queenie.
Hello, Queenie.
Yeah, it's just it just makes a difference. It's really hard to take that first step to sort of let someone in or say something about how you've been feeling, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? That but once you do it, it's amazing how better you feel, how much of a relief you feel just to know that you're not alone in that.
And to know that you've been heard as well, that you're not just holding it all inside, having it race around your head, growing and growing and growing. If you've shared it with somebody who's got a sympathetic ear or an empathetic ear, then at least you think, well, okay, somebody gets me. It doesn't feel quite so isolated.
Yeah. I think it's also important to distinguish, is that the right word, between what's normal, kind of like anxiety issues, in terms of like it's normal to have anxiety. For me, having an operation coming up, it's normal to have anxiety and issues around a job interview. That's all normal stuff. That's normal that every single person goes through. Do you know what I mean? Like for whatever, you know, whether it's job interviews or operations or moving house even, or no matter what, you can have anxiety, and all of those things is just normal. It's when it becomes extreme to the point that you stop doing normal things in that you stop going out, or you lock yourself away, or you drink too much, or you eat too much, or whatever it is that you do to an extreme to cover that.
It's self-medication, isn't it? That people will try and do something to self-soothe, to make themselves feel better. And that can be in so many forms that people have a distraction activity that means that they... But as you say, it's often not the best form done to an extreme.
Yeah.
Really hard. Talking is one of the very best things. And it's difficult to start. I find once people start, then
it's much easier.
It gets easier.
Like, I have no issues with talking about the stuff that I've been through or what I've gone through now. Not at all. Like, and the reason I did initially start talking about it was because I wanted other people to be able to know that you can come back from stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can be that frightened, that alone, that scared, that going through all those different fears, as well as anxiety and pressure, panic attacks, and repeatedly, and then you can come back.
Yeah, it's not a downhill spiral. So
Yeah,
everyone always thinks of everything as being a downhill spiral, but by contrast, there is also an uphill spiral where sometimes you have to get to a place that is quite dark in order to think, I've got to change this. And that something clicks, and you then will start the slow process of building back up again. It is a slow process to rebuild.
It is, definitely. And I think looking back now, I'm like, because I always thought, I truly always thought all the issues that I had was part of me, that like they couldn't be changed because it was me. You know what I mean? That was who I was. And so being on the other side, obviously, I realized that actually no, it wasn't me. It was mental health, but I didn't realize that at the time, and which is one of the things why I didn't talk about it, because it would be like, oh my god, people will think, you know what I mean, and that's the fear that you think of, you know what I mean.
Yeah, so it just adds another level of fear to the fear you've already got. It just makes it worse. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. I forgot what else I wrote on this. I think I put feelings, frustration, and something else. Can't remember what. I was a few F's, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
Not them kind of F's, but you know, a few F's.
Yeah.
I think the frustration was related to not being able to get support, or not enough support, and that needs to change in this country, definitely. I think the feelings and stuff was just what you go through when you being able to say something. Do you know what I mean? And that a lot of people go through similar feelings, and it's not just you, and it's not just, you know what I mean. Even though it does feel very isolated, and it does feel like, thanks, Chrissy, it was fight. That was it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chrissy.
And I think that was down to fighting the relative services that you need, which when you're struggling is hard to do, but being able to keep doing that because you need it, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's why I put fight. Yes, Nick, you're always late. Ian says, I'm not going to mention names because I'll miss someone. Oh, I think he was telling people. But he said there has been a small group of people who I can speak to any time of the day or night that have made a huge difference in this last couple of years, and sometimes that is better than any medication. Totally agree, and I feel the same as well. You know, when you get a group of people that you can speak to that you know are there for you, and it doesn't matter what you're saying, that always give you the right support and end up making you feel better. So you laugh and whatever and move forward. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah, it's essential, really. And I think a lot of sort of day-to-day mental health issues are hugely helped by that. I think it's so hard to fight anything without having an advocate, without having someone in your corner who's got your back. Very difficult to do it on your own.
Definitely. And you know, sometimes, especially if you've got a lot that's come at the one time and you don't know which way to go, I think sometimes it's good to be able to speak it through with someone who can then sort of, and you can work out what the best way to go is then, and focus on that one thing till that's sorted, rather than have all these 10, 11, 12 things that like run through your head that you need to sort out. You know?
Exactly, it's overwhelming if you've got too much. You know, if you've got a whole tsunami of stuff coming at your head, you do have to kind of cherry pick. What's the priority? Okay, what's the thing I have to sort out before I can deal with any of the rest of this? What's the one thing you need? And really having someone as a sounding board, really. And I think the important role is, you know, people think, oh, if you're going to be there for somebody, you've got to fix things, you've got to do. You just have to listen. That's all that's needed. Is to actually hear and listen.
And also writing stuff down as well. I think that's really good to write it down. You know, to just to create a list or whatever it is of the things that are bothering you, and just write it all down. And even if you fold the book up for that day and you just chill out for the rest of the day, and then you look at it the next day and you start, you know what I mean? Right, I'll start with that. Even if it's something easier, it's a phone call you have to make or something that is a lot easier than something bigger on the list. But if you start with something easier, it then reduces the list, you know what I mean?
And you get a positive feedback off it, don't you? You get a sense of achievement. And sometimes the things that you think are really difficult actually aren't that difficult. Thinking about them takes far more energy than just you know, kind of think, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for too much thinking. It really, yeah.
Yeah. Nick says, agreed, Ian. Having people who get you and can be there to hear the realities of our complicated lives is essential. Totally agree. Totally agree. It's just sometimes you just need to rant about it and then let it go, don't you? And you just need to have a bit of a whinge and let it go. And obviously, having people in your life who see that you behave in a certain way will also see if you're not behaving in the way that you usually are. So then they can speak to you with regards to that and sort of say, you know, this, I've noticed this, are you all right, or whatever. And that I can then open the gates for you to say, well, actually, no. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah, because if you can talk to someone who's not judgmental, who's not gonna, you know, takes that fear away, it's much easier than to open up. And you know, someone's not going to sort of change their opinion of you because you're having a horrible day.
Yeah. Nick's went on to say, sometimes just to offload and say it all out loud to a friend is enough to give you that little bit of perspective. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we just said there.
Yeah.
And then
can't underestimate it.
Ian said sometimes it's like a pressure release. Totally agree. And I think the thing is we tend to, like, when this kind of thing happens, we tend to sort of shrink away and sort of like, oh no, I can't, you know. But when you do speak about it, I know you always feel better. You know what I mean? Even doing this today for me, because I did debate earlier on about, you know, shall I cancel? And then I thought, no, just do it. Just do it. You know what I mean? Because you always feel better. And I do. I feel better now. I feel much better. Because it's just like pushing yourself that little bit, which can be hard. But when someone who is someone close to you has that, put that out there and sort of said, are you okay? I've noticed this. And it's definitely in, you know? So.
Yeah. It does. It makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Just to be heard, to be validated, to be listened to.
Totally.
Simple things. We can all do it for somebody else, but we can also have the right to ask for it for ourselves. Yeah, absolutely.
Julie says empathy goes a long way, which is very true. Hi, Junie. She's been lurking and listening. No problem. I don't know if anyone has got anything else they want to add into that. In the side chat, if you've got anything you want to say.
Susan's still here. She's probably got a split screen going on. Trial.
Trying on, yeah. When you don't get us confused, that's all I care about.
That would be very worrying.
Yeah, it would be. John says, I'm glad you decided to do this tonight. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you decided to do this tonight.
Plus, also, we're not going to be here for a couple of weeks, so.
Yes, that's right, because obviously you're going to be taking some time to look after you,
and time off.
And then I'm actually away.
You're going away, yeah. So
much excited. I think Carla's coming back from her holiday tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's had some time away, which I think has probably been wonderful. I hope it was, but it's everyone's starting to go places again. It's quite strange and exciting. It's like, we've gone away. Is that allowed? Yes.
Yeah, and we've got the football at the weekend as well, so I've got that to look forward to, and hopefully not like do some too much shouting and screaming because my stomach probably won't like. I
You'll have
can't
to
be
be
like,
gentle.
yeah, I can't like just jump off the bed and like in excitement. So
Blimey, no, you've got to look after yourself.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
but it's I don't know what our next subject will be when we come back.
Yeah, because we've sort of done the major ones, haven't we? So if there's suggestions or people would like this to continue in whatever form, do let us know.
Yeah.
We're open to suggestions.
If you have any kind of suggestion on whatever subject you want, then we can talk about it. There's nothing off topic for me. I'm all the same, Heather. No,
Yeah,
doesn't bother me.
yeah. I think I'm fairly bomb-proof. I'm certainly unshockable, that's for sure.
Jeannie said I haven't been doing too well to Susan,
No.
so from here I'm sure. I hope you've got some help with that journey, and whether that's physically or mentally, whichever, or both, or sending your hugs. But yes, if anyone has any suggestions about anything really, can always go through them. Or if you're watching this afterwards, just put them in the comments, and we'll have a look. And if no one says anything before, then we haven't decided before, we'll decide, and you can, in the meantime, and you'll come back to it, which will be on Heather's channel. So make sure you subscribe to her. Link is in the bottom.
Yes, we'll yeah, be a couple of weeks, but yes, it will be. That's interesting because Ian said mental health and how it affects sleep, too much or too little, and that's interesting because a lot of people who suffer with aspects of mental health do also have issues around sleep.
Yeah.
But whether they're always connected, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I know someone who's just got themselves a weighted blanket, no less, and that's supposed to help soothe. It kind of supposed to. It's meant to be, I suppose, a bit like having a hug, because you're kind of like have the pressure of the thing.
Pressure. No, I don't think I would like it. I think I'd feel
hemmed in.
Penned in, yeah. So I don't think I would like it, but I can understand why others would.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, you can have too much sleep and get very lethargic and very you lose a lot of your energy if you're not actually able to use it. It's very difficult to sustain it. But too little can be appalling. I mean, that sleep deprivation is a known form of torture, isn't it? It really affects your mental well-being.
Yeah. When I was in hospital, I struggled with sleep. I couldn't sleep, and they wouldn't give us any because I had sleep apnea. They wouldn't give us a sleeping pill.
Yeah.
Because of that, and I just remember. I had after I'd been really poorly, I had oxygen through my nose cannula thing, and I must have dozed off, and my nose cannula came out. So my daughter went to put it back in because she'd came in the room, and I just went like this, and just freaked her out and freaked myself out at the same time. But I'd literally only been asleep like sort of minutes, if that makes sense. But I don't know what it was. So thingy that I couldn't sleep, but yeah, it was a bit freaky. Hard.
Yeah. Well, hospitals aren't the best place to get any sleep anyway at the best of times. They're
true.
Noisy, bright environments, and with all kinds of unpredictable stuff that goes on around. Very difficult to sleep there.
Nick said the thin line between pushing yourself to achieve and knowing your limits is a good subject. Yeah.
Yes, because yes. Not sure I've learnt that one yet, but yeah. That is a really good one, actually. Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Definitely.
Absolutely. because that whole thing, I mean, that comes down to sort of confidence, but you can overstretch yourself and you end up stretching yourself so thin that you kind of, everything just falls apart. I've done that myself.
I think it's the same as like not being able to say no when it's okay to say no, but you feel obliged, and you know, and then you start to let people down because of that, because you can't spread yourself that thin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's quite a big area, isn't it? That's one a lot of people have experience of, I'm sure.
Definitely.
In the chat.
Junie says, "Oh, bless you all. Feels like a big hug, both mentally and physically. Have been struggling, but going out for the first time in a couple of months on Friday, so that will help." Oh, I'm really pleased you're getting out, Junie, and I hope you have a lovely time. I don't know wherever you're going, but I hope you have a lovely time.
Yeah.
John says, "Oh, bye, Nick." John says, "That's so true. I think mental health issues really affect our sleep. I think you either can't sleep or you just constantly
sleep all the time. Yeah.
I think with depression, especially, I've been constantly asleep. Just wake up and close my eyes again. You know what I mean? That and be able to sleep. I think when you're depressed, that it is much easier to sleep. Or I've always found that for me personally. I'm not saying it for everybody. Susan said, "Enjoy your trip out Friday, Junie. Hope it goes well. Please know that you are missed in the side chat." Very true. Very true. Yeah, so that's definitely what Nick said. We can go down that road. I suppose eating issues, diet, your diet on terms of, I don't like the word diet, but I mean, even though I use it ironically in my videos, I suppose the diet word, but I mean, in terms of like for your health, for the stuff that's in the foods. Obviously, if you're not eating very well, if you're not drinking enough, and all of the effects that they can have on you, as well as your sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like
things kind of stack up, don't they? And as yes, I've always said diet is a 4-letter word. Because it gets used and abused in ways that it shouldn't. But simply what you take into your body and what your body can use or not. A lot of very processed foods don't have much in the way of useful nutrients in and things like that. But they make us crave more because they're sweet or sugary or fatty or whatever. It's all very clever. The whole food industry is very clever and not very nice to people. Yeah, that's a whole area in itself, isn't it? Really.
True. It's another topic really. But Ian says, "I think food has a huge impact on mental health." Totally, because it works in both ways, whether that's overeating or not, or undereating. They're both affected mentally. Although I do think that if you undereat, there is more support and more acceptability.
There seems to be more sympathy and more understanding if someone's got anorexia or bulimia or something like that. But if somebody's big, then there's a whole package of assumptions that comes with that.
To me, personally, it's the same thing. It's mental health. It comes down to mental health. Because one of the things is that you don't choose to be like that. You know what I mean? And I remember watching this program, and this guy was living in his bedroom, and his dad was bringing him food and blah blah blah, and he was ordering takeaways, and he could barely move out his room and whatever. And people would get like just taking the mick out of him, you know, horrible things that they're saying and stuff. And I was like, he's not choosing to be like that. You know what I mean? You don't mentally choose to be like that. Like, he needs to solve whatever's going on in his head just to be able to move forward. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's the fact that it's always an emotional issue. Anything to do with food or in whatever manifestation, whether it, as you say,
Yeah.
too much, too little, the wrong kind of food faddism, all these kinds of things.
Yeah, and
It's
as
a symptom, isn't the cause. The cause is emotional and underlying. What you see is a manifestation of that. That's what's shown, but it's not what's going on.
and as you said, our bodies are, and Susan says as well, that our bodies are programmed to respond to the sugar and the fat and the whatever it is, and they crave it, and then these companies are allowed to mass produce it everywhere, and it is literally everywhere. You can't, unlike other addictions like drink and stuff like that, for instance, where it's not like everywhere. With food it is, you know what I mean? You've got,
you can choose not to drink, but it's very difficult. You can't choose not to eat. You have to have a relationship with food, and that's what's so different. It's not like stopping smoking or stopping drinking alcohol or any of the cessation kind of things. It's completely
or
different.
gambling or taking drugs or whatever. It's the one thing that you still have to do, but with everything else you're able to stop it.
There's a different psychology that goes on. Totally. Yeah.
Ian's trying to get chocolate orange by the looks of it.
Oh dear. Yeah, chocolate orange. People love that stuff, don't they?
Yeah. It's weird though what you can achieve. Like, I mean, obviously on the diet that I've done the past 2 weeks, you get the. I mean, I'm nearing the end of it, and at the beginning you kind of think, oh, am I going to get through this? But you do, and to be honest, I haven't really thought about the food that much. Especially once I was able to have some savoury stuff, so beetroot, pickled onions, pea and mint soup and tomato soup and things like that. I felt much better about it, and also knowing that there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, and it's not forever. It is simply because.
The only thing is like once this is all over, I have to not allow myself just to go, whoa, I can have everything, because that's kind of like.
Yeah, it would defeat the object a little bit, wouldn't it? But then it does mean that you will appreciate the things that you really do need and want, and maybe be able to go, yeah, but I don't have to eat that. Maybe it will have shifted something.
I think someone asked us if I felt hungry, and I actually don't. I don't. And I don't know if it's because them's my only choices, so therefore having more of them isn't that exciting, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
It makes complete sense, yes.
In the past, when I think the old me would have felt starved, would have ate more than I've had, if you know what I mean. I think the old me would have, because it was so much collected mentally. But since I've gone through a lot of that, it's not the same for me. You know what I mean? I don't get the calmness from the food I used to get, if that makes sense.
So you've broken the connection between your mental state, your emotional state, and what you put into your body.
I can still go back there if I've had a really crappy day. Because it's not an option, it makes a difference. Do you know what I mean? I think if it had been an option, I probably would have gone there. If I've had and I mean, especially like when I was, when everything happened, like when my mum and dad died, and there was just thing upon thing upon thing happening, then that was my only way of coping. I just went there, and even though I realised after so many weeks that it wasn't helping us, I wasn't getting any benefit from it, but I just resorted back, and I think I still have that capability, and I think I'll always have that in me, you know what I mean? But it's a case of being aware of it, do you know what I mean? So,
and knowing that you can change it, you can make a choice to go, actually, I'm not going to do that. There are other things I can do. And
going out with my camera and getting outside is more important to me than sitting in with a whole cheesecake, for instance. So
yeah, you get more pleasure out of other things. Whereas
yeah,
at one time, food was your only pleasure
yeah, because I
situation.
have the escape in a different way,
Mm,
and in a positive way, and in something that shows something that, you know, like that where people can go, you know, if they see my photos and they go, oh, that's lovely, that's brilliant, whatever. It's like a, I don't know, it's like no one ever says, oh, you've had a whole cheesecake, well done, high five. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, maybe they don't know, but
yeah,
like I say, people can say, oh, that's that lovely picture. You know, you've really got
yeah,
that bird doing something extremely funny.
yeah. A lot of people tell me, oh, yeah, you always get really good sharp pictures of birds and that, and I'm like, it's patience because you've got to sit there. Do you know what I mean? You've got to sit there and wait. And I think a few people they like images that's there already, if that makes sense. Because a lot of the photographers I know do landscape rather than like um, birds or flowers or whatever. Um, well, birds especially, but birds move a
Yeah,
lot.
you've got to have the patience,
You've got to have the
and you
patience
have.
to be able to
Yeah,
sit. Yeah,
you can sit and be still. You've
yeah,
learned to do that. You've kind of had to learn to do that. So it's a great skill. It's an acquired skill that you can use for
yeah,
something amazing. Whereas other people who take a couple of snaps, go, this isn't working, move and just stalk
yeah.
off somewhere else.
If
And
I
you don't. You
me,
wait.
I'll wait. I'll wait and see if it comes back. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, we've got woodpeckers and a baby one, and I was in the park, and I waited about an hour. I didn't see them, but next time.
Yeah, exactly. There'll always be a next time.
Yeah, but that's true. Where are we? Chrissy said it's a vicious. Eh?
We're being offered cornettos and Chris
Oh,
Sky.
right.
Thank
Yeah,
you
I'm
very
not
much.
allowed. Chrissy says it's a vicious circle. You won't feel any better after chocolate for very long. You will want more. Exactly. That's very true. She also says when we are depressed, we need the nutrients from healthier food. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we tend to opt for the comfort stuff, don't we? We tend to opt for the stuff that you think makes you feel better when it's a temporary thing, because then you need another bar of it and you need another bar of it. It's not a long term thing.
It's a craving thing, and it just gives you an energy spike,
Yeah,
which means you have an energy drop
yeah. So like
fairly soon afterwards.
yeah, so obviously having a bar of chocolate for me, yeah, it's nice. And then like you said, you get an energy spike and then you need another one to fix that. So what that benefits you all of half an hour, say, for that boost, shall we say.
Yeah.
And then whereas like if I go out with a camera and I'm out for 3 hours, so that time I'm out, that's 3 hours. Then when I come home, I've got like the time of looking at the photographs, and then I've got the time of sharing the photographs, and so that's like a massive difference. You know what I mean? So that I suppose if Ian was making something and he was making it from scratch, in the woodwork, then that whole time it took him to make that item is a massive difference, massive different buzz to be proud of at the end of, like, you know what I mean, to then, you know, take photos and show friends or whatever, and then sell the item if that's what you did, you know what I mean, and someone be have it, and knowing someone is proudly displaying it in their home and using it as a piece of furniture, for instance, must be a huge thing. I mean, the calendars, for instance, for me, like just knowing that they're in people's homes all year is a kind of weird thing, but it's really cool at the same
Yeah.
time. But also, it's brilliant. It helped to charity, you know, and that's the thing. That's the thing. It's finding other things. So whether it be food that it is, or drink, or drugs, or whatever, it's finding a healthier but the similar buzz.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
need a kick out of something. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I get a kick out of finding things to resell. I get a kick out of finding large items of what are probably silver that they didn't realise. It's that sort of, yeah, that's a real thrill and a buzz and a kick. And, you know, maybe in another life, if I hadn't gone that way, maybe I'd be into gambling or something, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I like certainty a bit too much for that. But yeah, it's finding something that gives you that buzz. Because if you haven't got any buzz, then what's the point? You need something: motivation, reward, pleasure, because that's what life's about.
Yeah, so that's the thing, if you don't have something in your life that gives you a buzz like that, then find something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Find something, try different things. If you want something to try it. You know what I mean? Look at what's around you. Think about what interests you. If you're into nature, if you want to get out and you want to see things, and and take a camera. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah. It's usually simple stuff, obvious stuff that's right under your nose that you've missed.
Yeah, totally.
It's little things.
Totally. Anyway, it's how I see it, so I suppose we've just round up. But thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to the lovely Heather here. As I said, we won't be here for 2 weeks, so it's the first week in June, isn't it, when we're back? Wait a minute, let's have a look.
You find the calendar.
Yeah, so we're not here on the 24th or the
or the 31st.
Yeah, so it's actually the 7th of June.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll be back on the 7th of June on Heather's channel. As I said, it's linked in the description box below. If you're watching this back, any subjects of any kind, put them in the comments box below. If you don't want to put them in the comments box and you'd rather inbox me privately, that's totally fine. Your name doesn't have to be attached to it at all. Just look into the description here and my email address is there, so you can just put it in that way, and that'll be much easier. There's no banish bin after this, just in case anyone was wondering. I couldn't find anyone to do it, unfortunately, so there'll be no banish bin this week, but I'll see if I can get some people involved.
You need some more willing victims.
Yes, I need some more willing victims. That's very true. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you later. Bye-bye. Bye.